Hello everyone, how's it going? I'm sorry for being a little bit late, but if I'm on time, then it's not really my show, is it? Like it's a requirement of this show for me to be a little late, and I'm actually really nervous because I'm going to London tomorrow. I'll be able to make one more live stream, and after that, 4 days I will be gone, and I'll be on the Lotus Eaters, talking with Sargon of Akkad. Not going to be my channel. Maybe I'll be able to do the hate speech. Well, I'll tell Sargon, let us speak of other things. Let us speak of things that they hate. Just kidding, I can't do that because it's on his channel. But hey, afterwards, I can have a beer with him. And if I have a beer with him, oh my god. The level of speech that can happen without terms of service in a pub. Oh, Dios mío. So yes, you will catch me on the Lotus Eaters this Thursday. I need to get a shirt. I negotiated with Sargon. I told him if you make me get a suit, there is no freaking way. I'm not coming there with a suit. And I pointed out, like, do you know how difficult it is to get a suit on an airplane? I mean, are you local? And Rags came in, it is possible. And of course it's possible, but it's difficult. I don't want the hassle. Like, you need to buy a special bag which folds in order to have the suit properly done. No, absolutely not. So I will not have that. And I'll just have a shirt. It might actually be illegal to speak like that in the UK. I had to train my wife. I had to train my Eastern European wife. I was like, look, if you see women wearing burqa, do not stare, do not point, do not talk about it. That I had to go through some words that she shouldn't mention ever. Like, even though you may hear about them in a South Park episode, you shouldn't say, right? Because, like, look, we're traveling to a different nations. They have more strict rules. They have more strict standards. The level of liberty and freedom is a lot less as you're traveling westwards into Europe. So let's not create an internationalist that do not open your mouth in public and say certain words that should not be said, which are acceptable here. They may not be acceptable there. Right? Do not stare, do not point, do not... Right? That's what I told her. So hopefully it's going to be fine. But... yes, pretty much. Like, do not say gamer words. You know, like when we play on PlayStation and you hear someone else on the other side saying English insults. Yeah, do not say them in public. Do not copy them. They do not, like, especially the British police do not appreciate them. Yes, here's a list of words you can't say, pretty much. Oh my god. We gotta walk around London in just a smart shirt. Do you know, like, this is actually something very interesting. Europeans, they like to dress to impress. I have a friend of mine which travels quite a bit. I mean, he travels probably in 10 different countries every year. And when he went to the United States, someone said, like, there's no way you're from Europe. Like, why is that? Because there's no way someone that's as rich as you to afford to travel into so many states can dress so plainly. And this is absolutely true. Like, Europeans, if they feel that they're raising the social status of themselves, they start dressing more expensive with brand clothes and other stuff. I don't give a shit. I'll probably take this Superman shirt. I don't care. I mean, especially in London, why the fuck would I want to flaunt wealth? Like, I know the whole idea. It's like, oh, don't teach me to protect myself from rapists. Teach rapists not to rape. You know, like, I would apply that to muggers. Like, oh, don't teach me to protect myself from mugging. I want other people not to mug. No. I will not dress myself in order to display obscene levels of wealth. I don't even have the ability to do that, but I will not wear any expensive clothing. Just, keeping a low profile, a little bit of tourism here and there, a little bit of snapshots before I head on to Sargon, and that's pretty much it. I miss the good old days where trash talking was a master gaming. Yes, I did. Alright, so let's talk about Trevor Noah. Now, Trevor Noah apparently he got sacked, and this might have to do something with the HBO Max deal, Discovery thingy. I don't know, like a larger company bought a woke company which was failing. Right, so like, this is what happened. You have a company that had common sense, and they were like, let's provide entertainment. And they made money, okay? Another company was like, let's be woke, let's provide social messages, and they stopped making money. So now the big company is buying the little company and is firing all the woke crowd, much to the dismay of journalists. So one of the people that had to go is Trevor Noah. Now, I just want to ask, which one of them is Trevor Noah? Because I've no fucking idea. They all have the same opinions. They all have the same jokes. Like, if you replace one of them with another, the public wouldn't know. Like, trust me, if you were to just do text messages with them and they would respond and you couldn't see who's on the other end, I would have no fucking idea. Like, it's almost like the clone machine, you know, the Revenge of the Clones. Like, this is what we're seeing here. Literally, every single one of them is doing the same jokes, supporting the same political parties. I know one of them, actually. I know one of them, the Falcon guy, which pissed his eyes after a tragedy, right? Like, that's the only one I know, because his video was monetized, and if you copied his video on your channel, it would get demonetized. That's how I found out about it. Jimmy Fallon or something like that. Yeah, I think that was him. You know, after, like, he started crying on it. Like, look, I do not believe actors crying. Like, I'm sorry. I'm literally sorry. I do not believe an actor which is crying. Because that's their fucking job, you know? Like, I would believe a person on the street if they're crying, but if I see man on TV crying, I'm like, okay, this is a little bit fake. You know, like, act professional, goddammit. Well, what? I work with medical staff, alright? Like, I seen doctors in hospital deal with death, deal with some of the nastiest shit. They're not crying. Why? Because you see it all the fucking time. Now, if you're a news anchor and you read the news, you're going to get desensitized. There's no way. You can't function as a human being unless you get desensitized. So when I see, you know, a talking head crying, I just don't believe. I don't care whether I agree with them or not. I think, like, crying actually detracts from the subject rather than adding to it. Man of culture, remember the party has just decreed that all Eurasian visitors to Airstrip 1 will only speak of the long and glorious peace which has already existed since last week. Good. Wasn't there two YouTubers that got deported from the United Kingdom? I think that was the case. It was back in 2017. I forgot which. I think it was like 2 Canadians, and they got deported. So don't make jokes like that, please. Not while I'm visiting. I remember a while back, Jimmy Fallon got in trouble for not being political enough, and for having Trump on his show. Oh, yeah, no, maybe that's why he was crying. You know, like he realized, oh my god, my career is over. Ah! I need to say something quick. I need to say something quick so that I don't get fired. Right. So well, the thing with Peterson, like, I'll tell you why I believe Peterson crying versus these people crying. Peterson is crying because of things that affect him personally, right? So, like, him personally was affected by people sending him, look, Peterson saw his wife dying of cancer, okay? He then have problems with his own health to the point where he had to go to Russia in order to get treatment. And on top of that, he's getting a lot of vile abuse online, which is not like, oh, just turn it off. Because, yeah, sure, you can turn off, but, like, those people were trying to ruin his life. Like, they were going beyond online. They were trying to go into his real life and get his deals canceled, get his publisher to drop him, like, all of that. That's a lot of fucking pressure, right? So I can see why Jordan Peterson would be crying. Now, does that mean that I like Jordan Peterson because he is crying? No. Like, honestly, the crying can be viewed as cringe. However, I can see that is genuine. Because it affects his personal life. Like, it's something that happened in his life, and he is crying. You know, the same with Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, I can understand why Kyle Rittenhouse was crying. I mean, I can't imagine how it's like to take the life of another person, even in self-defense, right? I mean, surely, especially on a child, well, not a child, teenager, that can definitely affect you. So I can understand why Kyle Rittenhouse is crying. I can understand why Jordan Peterson is crying. But when it's something that doesn't affect you personally, when it's just like reading the news and you're crying, no, I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. Like, I literally just do not believe that you can't be professional, especially when you're working in the media. Like, that's your job. You read news like that every fucking day. And it's also like the choice for crying. You know, like when Obama drone strikes children in the Middle East, where is the crying then? Where are the CNN journalists crying? Where are the comedians crying? And there's no crying then. Okay, fine. So it's only, it seems to be a very particular selective crying. So that's the difference that I would say. Again, like, maybe some people agree with it, others do not, but like that's my personal take. I'm not telling you what to feel. Like, if you see Jimmy Fallon crying and you're emotionally moved by that, I'm sure, whatever. Okay. Peterson is emotionally unstable. Yes, I would definitely think so. I don't know if he's still on medication or why, but definitely he is in a bad place. And again, I understand due to the events in his life, the huge amount of pressure that must be on him. Again, like, every time he says something is going to be like I notice what people on Twitter do, like, especially the left. Not only do they lie and they try to create a false impression on a person, but they also, like, every time someone says something, they take like the worst interpretation of what that person said, the most uncharitable interpretation. And seeing that, over and over and over, yeah, sure, it can affect you, which is why, according to him, he wasn't using his Twitter before he got banned. But that's not the problem, right? Because there's one problem when people are criticizing you and they're insulting you and they're mocking you. Like, you can get rid of that. You just mute the people, right? You turn off the comments, you block, you mute, you report, whatever. Like, you can deal with that. What you can't deal is when people try to go after your real life business, right? Like when we're trying to get your book publisher to stop working with you, when they're trying to pressure the university to fire you, when they're trying to do all of these things, well, you can't just mute them at that point. And that is very stressful. I gotta say, it is not pleasant if it happens to someone. Like, imagine 100 people would call your employer at the workplace to say, to show them like some logs that you said 3 years ago, and it's an edgy joke or whatever. Yeah, it's very problematic. Have a little Bitcoin to help power your PC, tower blasting, and keep your lovely waifu's toes warm this winter. I wonder if there's going to be heat at the hotel, because I understand there was a friend of mine which went to Italy, and he went to a 4-star hotel, much more expensive than I can afford. And there was no heating there because Italy is under an energy crisis. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, naruhodo, energy crisis. But still, tourism, you want? So I'm really curious if I'm going to have any heating at the hotel in the UK. There are some horror stories with people who claim that they have coffee shops and they used to pay $2,000 a month per electricity, and now they have to pay £10,000 a month. I'm like, what? Yoy, that's a little bit too much. Too much. How can you maintain a business like that? So I don't know about the hotels. Like, hopefully there's going to be a little bit of heating. The room temperature should be acceptable. I don't even know the weather, how it's going to be. Still, it's September, right? Like, they should have heating in hotels. I don't have heating in my house turned on yet because it's September. But like, if you go to a hotel, I expect that they should have heating. So yes, cuddle the wife to keep warm. I mean, look, sure, yes, but tourism, right? Like, you should be warm without the cuddles. I don't want to get sick while I'm visiting the UK. It's a possibility, but hopefully I will not see, like, just cold weather in the hotel room. Cold weather should be outside, not in the hotel room. I don't think this is normal. he is prone to cry, and now with his drug problem, he can't control it as much as before. Yeah, like the whole thing with Jordan Peterson crying, his tears do not impress me. I gotta say, I'm like a person that, if you want to talk with me, you need to appeal to logic, okay? Like, I don't care about tears and all of that, the emotional thing. It's like, if someone starts crying in front of me, I'm like, all right, well, when you calm down, we can have a conversation. I know, like, maybe I don't behave the way people expect, but I'm pretty sure there are other people that think like me. I generally don't care. Like, I really don't care about crying. But anyway, right, so, with that out of the way, there is the progressive left that constantly say, oh, well, toxic masculinity is when men don't cry. They keep their emotions bottled up, and then they become unhinged. The emotions explode. It's unhealthy not to cry. And I'm like, okay, well, when Jordan Peterson cries, when Kavanaugh cries, when you have Kyle Rittenhouse crying, all of a sudden it's let's start mocking them, let's start making fun of them, crocodile tears. And then they know what caused them to cry, and they keep attacking, they keep hammering that over and over. And I'm thinking, like, maybe men not crying is like a defense mechanism, and you guys are just like sharks in the water wanting to find a little bit of blood. Because that's what you're doing. Like, you are telling men to cry, and when they cry, you attack them. How does that make any fucking sense? Unless you're so vindictive and you're such evil people that you generally want to see which man is dumb enough to start crying in front of you. And then there's another thing, all right? Like, I'll tell you, like, one more thing about crying. It's very, like, it's quite often that you can see women crying, right? Like, almost every woman that I know, even when they're grown up, they do cry. It is what it is, like, under some circumstances they cry. It's very rare to see a man crying. Like, almost, I mean, most of my friends that I know, I have never seen them cry. And I'm telling you this, having gone to 2 universities, right, and having gone to the exam period. I mean, it was so fucking often that you would see a woman get an F and fail the exam, and she would come out crying. Like, almost every single time, they were red at the face, they had tears. But I haven't seen men cry. And I seen men in very difficult situations, like really fucked up situations that, that would be emotionally wrecking. But they weren't crying. So when you finally see a man crying, you know that is pretty serious, that is pretty severe. Especially when, as we noticed with Jordan Peterson and other cases, they don't really get social support. It's not like when a woman cries, everyone is like, oh, it's like, oh, are you okay? Oh, blah, blah, blah. But when a man is crying, he doesn't get that. Most people chuckle, laugh. Even women, other men, like, it's a funny story. It's a funny event. So when you see a man crying, yeah, like, they probably are going through some shit. But again, I'm the type of person that's not moved by tears. I prefer to hear the logical argument, which is why I understand Jordan Peterson, like, he's swaying me with the logic. Yeah, sure, if you see your wife dying of cancer and then you're having all of these health issues, yeah, I can understand why that is a little bit too much. Eastern European patriarch cringes at man in tears. I cringe at anyone in tears. Like, unless you're a child, okay? Like, a child crying, I can understand. But if you're an adult, right, you're a grown-ass person, stop crying, alright? Like, or if you want to cry, that's fine. Like, I'm not telling people to cry or not cry, actually. But it's not going to move me. It's going to make me feel uncomfortable, which is why I'm going to leave the room so you can get it out of your system, and then I'm going to return it to the room and we can have a conversation about it. I think that is the healthiest way to deal with this situation, because otherwise, and especially this applies when dealing with women as well, right? Like, when a woman starts crying, just get out of the room, let her deal with it, and then you come back, because you don't want to end up with a situation where a person uses tears in a way to manipulate you. Just so you know, like, at the beginning of a relationship, I don't know how many, because Americans, like, when you look at American comedy, what I'm saying here is haram, like, you're not supposed to do this, but at the beginning of a relationship, the rules and norms that you enforce are going to be for the entire period of the relationship, and this is true for women and men. Like, if a woman permits a man let's say, slap her or be physical with her at the beginning of the relationship, she's going to have that throughout the relationship. You can't untrain that. Like, when two people meet for the first time, the boundaries and the rules they set in the beginning are going to be there for forever. Like, you're not going to create additional boundaries after a couple of years. So my point is, like, at the beginning of the relationship, the things you tolerate, you're going to have them just flow from there. So, if for example, paying for her meal, right? Like, if you start paying for her meal, she's going to expect that you keep paying for her meal. And she has a point. It's like, well, it's kind of like getting a job. It's the same thing. If you get a job, this is what I tell people. When you first start going to work, never work at your 120%. Like, there are people who get a new job and they want to impress the boss, and and they start working overtime and they put in a lot of effort. And then what happens is that is the expectation that the boss has. Like, the boss will think, okay, so from now on he will have to work at 120% nonstop. And when you stop slacking a little bit and you go down to 100, well, then the boss is going to be like, oh, why are you slacking? We're noticing that you're not getting the results. So what you need to do is, when you get a new job, you need to work at 80% of your capacity, right? And then get the boss used to the idea that this is your level. And when you have to work a little bit overtime because the company crunches or whatever, and then you raise it up to 100%, you impress the boss even more, and then you lower it to 80%. So my point is, that's what you should do in relationships as well. What situation? Oh my fucking god, there's so many situations. Like, there's a plethora. I don't even know where to start. Sargon will slap V if he drops a gamer word on his podcast. Dude, I'm a YouTuber. I know the terms of service. I will not drop a gamer word. Holy shit. I don't even think his podcast is live. I think it's pre-recorded, so it's fine. 100%. I now just do above what is required. When I need to work hard, I don't have to kill myself. Yes, like people who start with 120%, and they said that's the normal, and the boss thinks, okay, well, that's the level where you need to be at. When you work a little bit hard, like when you have to pump it up, and then you have to work yourself to 140%, you're going to get burnout. You're going to hate your job. You're going to hate that you're there, and you're not going to be a happy person. Is it live? Oh, shit. Well, that's a little bit of the edginess out. It's fine. I mean, look, I'm doing live streams right now. I'm not talking about things that I shouldn't. V's communist work ethic in relationships. You know what the communist work ethic was? They pretend to pay us, we pretend to work. By the way, speaking of this shit, every single time I cover a Ukrainian video, I think it's painfully obvious that I'm on Team Ukraine. You get some people going like, V is spreading Ukrainian propaganda yet again. And I'm like, man, just like, tell me, where am I pushing misinformation? Like, no, but you see in the comments, it's people that are like, he is spreading Ukrainian propaganda. And I'm doing my best to make sure that the information that I present is true. I mean, I can't be 100% sure, right? Because I don't speak Russian. So I have to rely on other sources. Like, for example, today's video was from Forbes. And there was another one with the tank commander. I think that was from the New York Times. But, like, I'm not fucking there with the camera. And honestly, those people aren't. Like the people that are like, you're pushing for misinformation. They're not there with the camera either. So, of course, you have to rely on the authoritative sources. But you can use your fucking brain a little bit and wonder, like in the case with the tank commander guy. Well, the Russian government themselves said that, yeah, okay, we saw this as a problem. It's a mistake. We're going to correct it. So when the fucking Russian government is saying that, I assume that video is true. Just so you can understand how I do my fact checking. Maybe I'm wrong sometimes. And if I'm wrong, please, for the love of God, just tell me where. Just tell me, like, okay, this video is bad. Okay, fine. But with that out of the fucking way, the idea that there are people who get upset every single time you see anything negative about Russia. But, like, look at the fucking map. Okay, like, look at the fucking map. You have a world power, allegedly, which is what was supposed, like, initially, this was supposed to be a special military operation that was wrapped up in a couple of months, right? And now the Russian government is asking for mobilization. And you're still saying, oh no, Russia dominates, Russia will... Look, you are like the trust the plan people. I don't know what else to say. I mean, at this point, look, just shut the fuck up and wait for the situation on the ground to change, right? Because it might change. I don't know, like in war, things move differently. For example, the North Korean-South Korean war. That fucking border went up and down as if it was masturbating Korea. Like, it went all the way up into North Korea, then it went down, then it went back up and back down again. Right? Like, it can happen. But at least have the big balls when your side is actually winning. If you want to treat this as a fucking football match. That's not the reason that I even made the video. The reason that I made the video was because I find it horrifying on the concept of being a person living in a country and then getting drafted and being sent to the front with minimal equipment and no training. Okay? Like, that was the reason that I was talking about it. Because it's like, oh my fucking god, like, that is so horrible. Because I go on Twitter and I see, like, this absolute hatred towards the Russian people. Right? Like, absolutely no compassion. Just like, hatred, usually from the left. Like, overwhelmingly from the left. And I just wanted to say, you know, like, this is not a football match. Like, the common man is suffering because of this. And it's both the common man in Ukraine, obviously, and the common man from Russia. Like, when I saw bombs being dropped on people from Kiev, and then, like, there was this VTuber girl that I knew, and she was posting pictures with her in a bomb shelter. Like, that's really fucked up, right? So it's like, okay, well, it's the people on the ground suffering. And now I'm seeing, you know, the same thing, well, a different kind of suffering, obviously, but with people who don't vote for the war, with people who, if they go out and protest, they get arrested, and then they also get drafted into that war, and the people on Twitter have nothing but disparaging things to say. It's really fucked up. It's like, how would you like it if it happened in your country? Right? So that was my point. That is why I made the video. Because at the end of the day, I don't influence the war effort. Like, no matter what I do, I'm not going to help either side win. I have a small channel. No one even know what the fuck I'm uploading. As a Trump supporter, anti-mandate, and libertarian, I find it very interesting that both populist left, center, and right are so pro-Russia, at least anti-Ukraine. Well, the thing is, like, you're not going to find any pro-Russian in Romania because of the geography of the region, right? So, when you're so close to the conflict, and you look at Romania's history, you find that a border with Russia is very inconveniencing, just as the Poles. I mean, Poland has a border with Russia, and they know what I'm talking about. But I can understand why people in America or in the UK don't care. And I can also understand why they're upset about the billions of dollars in aid going to Ukraine. I get that. You know, like, I understand. It's a different conversation. But there are other ways you can talk with people from UK and people like Tim Pool. Like, I would love to have a live stream with Tim Pool, and we can talk about the war effort, and I can explain to him why an American should support Ukraine. I can also explain to Sargon. I don't know if on the Lotus Eaters he will want to approach this topic, but it's a topic that I would love to have with him. Still, remains to be seen. I haven't discussed what we're going to be talking about, but I would love to have this conversation. Being anti-deficit is expressed as pro-Russia. I mean, I don't know. The thing with this whole situation is that I should have another live stream just completely focused on this topic, and maybe I can get someone that's an American or a British person that's anti the war, and we can have a conversation. I already recorded an interview that I'm going to upload in smaller videos while I'm gone. And I broached a wide array of topics, including this. And you guys will see the Romanian point of view of why we definitely support Ukraine in this endeavor. But no, like, it is something that I can understand. Like, if you're a British person or an American person, I can understand it. But the closer you are to the conflict, the least likely you are going to find people that support Russia. except for Hungary. But in the case of Hungary, I kind of understand the geography of the area. I mean, they don't have any natural gas of their own. They don't have any other type of ways of getting the gas. So a lot of people say that Viktor Orban is pro-Russian. No, I think Viktor Orban is pro-realism. Like, he understands that he doesn't control the people control him. And, well, if he's going to impose the sanctions and cut the gas, then where is he going to get gas from? And this is why even the European Union didn't really hammer the point. Because they realized that if Viktor Orban was to shut down the energy economy in Hungary, then on the next elections you wouldn't get a left-wing party, you would get someone even more extreme to the right, even more nationalistic than Orban. So yes, I definitely understand that situation. No one has ever won a land war against Russia. Didn't Vietnam, after kicking the American asses, kick the Americans, the Russians out as well? And also, this is another thing that I discussed about Ukraine, right? So, from what I understand, Ukraine's victory condition right now is to take all of the regions, including Crimea and Donbass. Now, if they just hold those regions and stop there, that would be the smart plan, in my opinion. If they actually try to go into Russia proper, which is very unlikely, but if they were to try to do that, then all of a sudden all the morale of the Russian soldiers would get re-energized. Because now, well, you have an invading army in your country. Like, up until now, that's the main problem. A lot of recruits are like, well, why are we fighting here? Like, well, why are we going into this territory? They clearly don't want us, right? So it would be a completely change in the morale of the Russian troops, and that would not be a wise move, in my opinion. For a pit of Swindon's finest, also, where's the after party? There is no after party because I'm going to London with my wife. She doesn't speak English, so I promised to her that besides the interview that I will have with Carl, I will not make any meetups or any sort of that. It's just me and my wife, and I'm trying to visit a couple of locations, and that's pretty much it. I'm sorry, Jetster. I do appreciate the fact that you want to meet me, but maybe some other time. As an American who get involved into politics during the Bush era of American imperialism and spending democracy, although I do not like to see War I, do not want my own country to run the world. The thing with America, and this is my assessment, America has a history of protecting its investments. So, America has invested throughout the world, and then they want to see those investments return. The idea that if America would just pull its armies back into the United States and refuse to take part into any sort of international affair militarily, and that the Americans' way of life isn't going to deteriorate dramatically, is laughable. Like, America has to protect the trade lines. They have to still protect the Saudi Arabia so that they can export inflation throughout the world. I mean, without these things, without these tools, the American empire would collapse. Like, America would become just another nation, and like think about it this way, right? You have the petrodollar. So what is the petrodollar? It's the ability of America to force Saudi Arabia to sell oil only in dollars. So any other nation in the world, if they want to buy oil, they have to get dollars first, right? So if I want oil, I have to buy dollars from the Americans, and then I buy oil from the Saudis. And this is why America can print as much money as they want and have as little inflation as possible. Now, they have inflation now, but the level of inflation that they should have is colossal compared to what they're having. Okay, so now imagine that America goes, okay, well, fuck you guys, we're going home. So they're taking away, they're leaving all the trade lines undefended. Eventually, China takes over. They get to place tariffs. You have Saudi Arabia deciding to sell oil in whatever currency. All the dollars that America printed, literally every single one, would just be pumped back home. Like all of the dollars throughout the world that are that are exported inflation would go back into the United States. It would destroy the economy. Like, you would be Weimar Germany. There is no other way around this. The petrodollar is a convention. Yeah, if you actually look how the petrodollar was initially proposed, and you look at behind the scenes, the petrodollar came as a convention. Yes, it's like we will give you our military and defend Saudi Arabia, but in exchange you sell your oil in dollars. If Saudi Arabia would have said no, then America would have conquered Saudi Arabia. This was undesirable due to, well, the particular region. They would have constant uprisings. It would have been a difficult war, but it would have been war nonetheless. Like the United States would just captured the Middle East, and then they would be the ones selling oil. Most people seem to forget Russia lost to Poland before World War II. Search White Eagle versus Red Star War. Anything is possible. Like if something happened throughout history, doesn't mean it will happen again. I mean, back then, for example, people didn't have drones and satellite-guided missiles, so certain things can change the battlefield. But I don't know, like, it remains to be seen. I'm not pronouncing... If you guys listen to what I said on my channel and on my live streams, I never said, oh yes, this side is guaranteed to win. I don't know. Like, as I said before regarding the North Korean war, the border moved up and down masturbating Korea. Throughout the war, it went all the way into NK, then it went into South Korea, then it went back to the middle, back into NK, and back to the middle. You can't predict these things, especially with war. It's very unpredictable. Even if you have a good plan, all it takes is for some people to rout, and then you lose your front line. So, yeah, I just refuse to say who's going to win. Obviously, right now, it looks as if Ukraine is getting the upper hand. The very fact that it's into Donbass is astonishing. Again, like, I want you guys to remember when this war started, most people didn't give Ukraine even 2 weeks. Like, I remember talking heads in Romania, and Romania is very pro-Ukraine. But there were Romanian commentators and political analysts, and not just in Romania, but in the United States as well, that they were expecting Ukraine will fall within 2 weeks. Well, here we are several months later, and they're now talking about taking over Crimea, something that when I first heard about, I was like laughing and being like, yeah, right, sure. But it is what it is, yeah. Talking heads in Moscow, like that. There is a viral video with a talking head in Moscow, which is like, oh, they're worried that the Ukrainians are going to launch missiles into Moscow. Obviously, that's probably not incredibly unlikely, but that's what they're talking in Russia. Is that also Western propaganda? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, didn't Vietnam also beat the Russians, as I asked before? Afghanistan beat the Russians. Yeah, like the idea that the Russians are undefeatable is not true. Westerners were demoralized over Afghanistan. Oh, there's something even worse happening in the West right now. Let me see if I have the article. But U.S. Army recruitments are down by 20%. Like, just because I talk against the Russians doesn't mean that I'm not concerned with what's happening in the U.S. It doesn't really surprise me, given the fact that overwhelmingly the people that want to join the U.S. military are right-wingers, and they're very conservative, and they love their country, because why the fuck would you want to join a military if you don't love your country? And with the woke ideology that says that the country is actually systemically racist, sexist, evil, the cisgender white man is the problem, and then you also come with the mandates and all that shit, yeah, you're going to drive recruitment down by 20%. I saw the very progressive, very beautiful commercial for the U.S. Army, which didn't really speak that much to the type of person that would normally like to enroll. Now, all of these things, they take time in order to fuck up the military. Like take into account that when entertainment got co-opted, it took a little bit until it reached the level that's today, right? Like, even when comic books started getting subverted and you had all of the woke being pushed into them. It took a while. It took, I think, like maybe 5 years until the quality of comic books plummeted. So it's the same with the U.S. military. Like, I'm pretty sure that right now, the U.S. military would still be able to do a good job. But if things maintain course, and they have, like, the recruitment level drop by 20%, and they have, like, all of these progressive initiatives, well, if that's the situation, then 5 or 6 years from now, things aren't going to look very good. They have, like, something needs to change. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very nasty. Let's put it like that. Especially since other foreign nations will take advantage of it. It's probably what Russia also thought. And they thought they're going to have another Crimea, but apparently that wasn't the case. I don't even know if there's probably not I haven't heard news of Americans fighting in Ukraine, so it's something that I can't judge. But yeah, justifiably stupid. The fog of war is just a conspiracy theory. Joining the army is like going to jail voluntarily. You have a boss 24/7. In 2022, no one wants to go to woke jail. I don't think so. I obviously joining the army is very difficult. It's very strict, but I wouldn't consider it going to jail. Even though you obviously lose your freedom for the time you do basic training and the time you're deployed. But other than that, no, I wouldn't call it jail. Plus, you get a lot of respect as a member of the military in the United States. I mean, America is the only country in the world that I know. I'm pretty sure there might be a couple of others. But it's the only country in the world that I know where if you're a soldier, people tell you thank you for your service. Like that just doesn't exist in Europe, which shows that America has a strong military culture. A strong warrior culture, if you will. I was trying to find the picture that I saved with a huge number of articles from the mainstream media talking about various initiatives of the US military attacking cisgender straight white men, right? Like, the time of cisgender white men is over, make room for the women, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, with that level of propaganda, obviously your recruitment numbers are going to go down. Like, I wouldn't want to join a place that would say, oh, Romanians are evil, Romanians are bad. If you say that, why the fuck would I join as a Romanian, right? So, I was trying to find that. I know I had it somewhere. But hopefully I will find it next stream and I will show it to you guys. Because it's, like, duh. Of course recruitments are going to be down. And it looks really bad when you put all those articles together. It looks really vile, like a vicious attack. And, yeah, I mean, it doesn't shock me. But yeah, I unfortunately, I can't find it. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know why I don't save these things. I think I don't save them because I'm looking at them and I'm like, will I make a video about this? Probably not. And then I don't save them. But then the conversation comes up on a live stream and I'm like, oh, god damn it, I wish I had saved. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure it is somewhere on my hard drive. Recruitment news is crazy in the UK as well. I served. It's sort of a jail. You can't move. You can't change jobs. It's way better than jail. I mean, it's very strict. Well, in jail, you're supposed to suffer. So in jail, it's not just the loss of liberty, right? Like, I don't consider the simple loss of liberty to be in jail. First of all, in jail, you don't have safety from the other inmates, right? Like in the military, allegedly. Well, depending on what military you are. But I don't think in the US military you're supposed to be afraid of other soldiers. But like by this logic, a high school, right? Like a high school, but not necessarily like one where you come home. Like there are those type of summer schools, right? Like summer vacations summer schools where you're going there, or the way they used to do it. They used to have like these universities where you go on another campus, and back then they wouldn't allow you to leave the campus. There are workers in certain places where they are not allowed to leave the compound. Usually in Qatar and other places like that. But even in Romania, we have workers from Nepal where I know for sure that in some companies they don't allow them to leave the compound. I mean, cosmonauts, people who go into space, I wouldn't consider them in jail. People on an airplane that, like just the loss of liberty wouldn't mean in jail. So, imagine if hospitals, the advertised jobs for nursing says that the time for female nursing is over and it's time for men to take over. That is such a fucking powerful example. I love that. I'm going to use that word. Powerful. A powerful example, chat. Yes. Imagine if in a hospital, the advertisement would be the time for female nurses is over. It's time for men to take their place. Like, obviously, you're going to have recruitment numbers plummet. And you may as well not even get men. Sorry about that. Apologies. But yeah, like, it is very similar to what's going on in the military. And I heard that the British military is also having a problem finding recruits. Although, to be honest, the problem can always be solved with increasing the number of cash. I mean, even if you have, like, this very unwelcoming, very difficult military and you still join, you may do so because you're getting more money. By the way, this is also something interesting. When the left says, it's like, we need to make this more inclusive because otherwise people won't join. So they will say, we need to make gaming more inclusive because otherwise women don't join. So we need to make sure that gamers don't use gamer words and they don't... like video game developers do not show skimpily clad women because otherwise women are alienated. And I think, if that's your logic, having a place where you're actively promoting against like the cisgender heteronormative white man, and you're like constantly articles after articles after articles saying how like, oh yes, we're very much against this, and you still have white men going there, like that completely debunks the theory that people do not go there because they're alienated, right? It's like, no, people usually they have a goal, right? Like it is something that they like. Most people do try to choose a career based on things that they like. And then it's because they're well paid, right? Like if you keep paying people, they will come. I mean, it's not I don't think this is a controversy. Oh my god. Have you guys seen the AI pictures with Big Booba on Twitter? Let me show you the AI pictures. Hold on. So apparently, this right here, this is made by an AI. Like an artificial intelligence draw this. This is not drawn by an actual artist. This is not made by a person. This is something that an AI has designed. And there's many pictures like this that are very popular right now. They just keep being spewed. You notice there are some mistakes, which is why it's interesting. Because again, this is an AI, right? So the question is, like, which art is going to be better? The Chad AI versus the Virgin Corporation? Like which one do you think is going to be more popular, right? Like this one or this one? And I think this is why the AI pictures, the AI generated pictures are so popular right now. Is due to the fact that the current art that's coming is so bad. And I hear people, it's like, oh my god, but like AI is going to replace art. Well, let me tell you something, I actually spoke with someone that makes corpo art. And the reason that this art even exists is because it's so cheap to make. Like, as you can see, the head is the same. The chest is the same. The legs are the same. So basically what you do, the way you generate this type of art is you have an artist and he has like a character creator from any RPG, and he just selects the color of the clothing. He selects the head, like he can just pop the head from here and replace it with this person's, right? So while it's not AI generated, it's close enough. It's very close. And this is the reason why this art exists, because it's very cheap to make. And it's not offensive. But now you also have art that is cheap to make, but it is offensive. And it's very interesting because what I think, I don't believe that AI will actually replace artists. From what I know, it takes around 2 hours to tinker with the AI in order to get something like that. So it's still skill dependent. Like I would not be able to get the AI to draw like that. So you need to know how to tinker, how to code. Secondly, it would actually help artists. So it would get an artist to use it as a tool. So he would get that representation and then he would start noticing the flaws and he can correct them. So that's how I view this AI is going to end up as. Like, you're going to still have artists, but it's going to make their job easier because once they get that, they can just tinker a little bit and they can then draw faster, and you're probably going to hopefully get better animation in the future, better movies, better games. Art isn't the only thing coming. Oh, I see. Good luck on your trip to UK. After you come back, you should have a chat with Lawrence Southern about how you got banned from Great Britain. Shut the fuck up, dude. But what I love about this is that progressives are calling AI sexist, right? So the reason the AI is what it is because, like, how does an AI work, right? Every single time an AI does something, like the conversation of racism and sexism pops up. So how does an AI work? You feed the AI information, right? So you give him libraries of books to read. Something that the human mind would not be able to internalize in a short amount of time, right? Like you feed the AI the entire library of Britain if you want to, right? All the books on the internet, you can just put that into the AI. And then the AI is going to notice patterns and is going to use what it learned in order to give an output. So the reason people say that the AI is problematic is because if you get for example, you get the AI to finish a sentence and you say, 2 Muslims walk in a bar and. Now the AI will say something like, and blow it up, right? Oh my God, that is offensive, right? But like people will see that if you type 2 British people go into a bar, and the AI will say, and then they will have a pint of beer, right? So, oh my God, the AI is racist. But it's based on the literature that the AI is reading, right? Because the AI will notice a pattern in its literature, and it doesn't have political correctness fit into its brain, so the AI doesn't know that if it says that, it will get in trouble. Like, the AI just goes on pattern recognition. So then you have the people programming the AI being like, okay, well, we need to ban him from saying that. Like, we need to make a ban on. So, after creating the AI, then you need another team of people to program political correctness into the AI. It's absolutely hilarious. And they do this because the academics complain. And the academics complain because, as I mentioned before, like in this case with the AI which draws Big Booba, like the AI noticed that this is what people like. Right? Like, it doesn't have political correctness. It doesn't understand moral sensibilities. The AI knows that where, like, it was probably fed information on which type of pictures get viewed by people more. So it looked like, okay, well, which type of images get the attraction of the user more versus which type of images get the user attraction less. So the AI realized, okay, well, these are the standards of beauty that people want, so that's what it's producing. But of course, that's sexist, because the AI doesn't understand, like, the concept of sexism. It doesn't understand the concept of moral sensibilities. It doesn't, right? Like, the AI just understands what it's supposed to draw in order to get people to look at. The AI can't be misogynist. It has no pee-pee. LOL. Humans might as well get out their paintbrush and make real art. Well, here's the thing with AI art, because this is what I've been talking with several artists, and this is what I got. Knowing how to input the information into an AI to make the art is an art of itself, if you pardon the pun. It's kind of like drawing with a pencil versus drawing with a paintbrush. Right? Like using oils in order to paint versus using crayons. It's a completely different way of doing art. Like drawing versus doing art on a computer with a mouse. So it takes a different level of skill in order to master. Like, not everyone can get the AI to spew those images. So I do think it's still art, yes. And by the way, like, this was actually a conversation, like, can an AI make music? And I think there was a movie, I forgot which. Oh, I remember now. It was in the first season of American Gods. So in American, or second season. There was this brilliant hacker, which had a father, and the father wanted him to be an artist. He wanted him to sing, he wanted him to play instruments. And what the guy did, instead of singing, he programmed an AI in order to complete the symphony of Mozart and do, like, he programmed the AI to basically learn how Beethoven sings and reproduce something similar. And the father initially loved it, but when he found out that it's the AI, he was really upset and he left the room crying, right? Like, he had a tear on his face as the father walks out. And I was thinking, like, the father didn't realize what was going on. Like, sure, the machine, you can say that the machine isn't creating art, right? Because, like, the machine doesn't have a soul or whatever. But creating that machine is art. Like, writing those lines of code is art. Creating an AI which can create music is art. That's how I would view it. Like, why is it like writing a poem is art, but writing lines of code which gets the machine in order to then sing a song very similar to Beethoven or Mozart, like, why would that be a problem? Just feed the AI with books on critical race theory. Oh my fucking god. For your London stop making me anxious, Grayson. AI needs a correction. Crazy, most parents would rather their kids work on computers than music. Yeah, but like in that particular scenario, it was a very wealthy individual. Like, it was a very eccentric and a wealthy individual. Probably didn't care, right? Like, he had so much money that the kids didn't have to work a single day in his life. Which is why he had the time, I guess, to focus on the non-essentials. I also don't think that the AI will take people's jobs. Like, even if the AI manages to have art or something like that, you will never be able to replace the human. And even then, you need to have the human to code the AI. So I don't think we're even close to the part where the AI can take people's jobs. And if you manage to create a society where every job is replaced by an AI, well, congratulations. Now you're going back to the Roman times where people had slaves. Except that this is going to be replaced by AI, which means that no one is suffering. So there you go. Yes, rich liberals, exactly. They should acknowledge when they're using AI. Why? I mean, fine, I don't mind, but like, what? It's kind of like CGI, I guess. Like, CGI is computer generated, and you can do anything you want with it, but it's still not as good as the original. Like, it's still not as good as the... And you saw that with Stranger Things. Like, they actually did special effects that are natural. Like, they actually used the costume for the monster, and it looks so fucking great. It doesn't look like some CGI bullshit. Get a stab vest for my wife. Just stop it. You know what? You guys are creeping me out. I'm going to leave now. So I need to make 2 more videos for my secondary channel. Then figure out how I'm going to upload the videos for my main channel for the time I'm gone. And thank you for watching. Thank you for the super